We are continuing with the mayor's budget improvement discussion for parks. It's very nice to see you. I know that you were recently named the interim director, and I'm going to let you take a moment and introduce the folks who are with you. I know that there's some other folks back there in the audience. I want to just highlight that we have some council members with us. We have Councilmember Vercher. We have Councilmember Van Reese. We have Councilmember Hager. We're also joined by A.J. Jones, who is a junior at Donaldson Christian, who is shadowing today. So, A.J., you get to see how your government works today. Want to just point out to the viewing audience at home that over the next several days, we're going to have lots of revenue requests. And I'm sorry, lots of funding requests. That the funding requests will probably exceed the revenue that we have. So as we go through these very thoughtful conversations at the end, we'll make a decision about the best allocation of how to put those resources to the best of use for Nashville and Davidson County taxpayers. So take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayor Berry. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Monique Odom. I am the Interim Director of Parks and Recreation. I want to thank you for all of your support and the support of your administration of the Parks Department. With me here at the table today is Tim Nate, who's Assistant Director of Planning and Facilities Development, and Cindy Harrison, who is with our Greenways and Open Space Division. Also in the audience are our some Park Board members, Christy Smith, who is Park Board Chair, Mr. George Anderson, and Stan Fossick, who is Vice Chair of the Park Board. Also, some of our staff, our very excellent staff. We have Sally Davis, who is Assistant Director of Community Programs and Wellness, John Holmes, who's Assistant Director of Special Services, Jackie Jones, our Community Affairs Superintendent, Jim Hester, Assistant Director over Cultural Arts, Natural Resources and Outdoor Recreation and Special Events, and Rick Taylor, Assistant Director of Consolidated Maintenance, Captain Chris Taylor, who leads our Park Police, and Shane Dennison, who is absent, but Cindy is here in her absence. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity to present our FY18 budget request. Great. I want to first acknowledge your challenge to departments to look for areas to reduce or reallocate funding. That was a very worthy exercise for our department. We did do that, but weren't unable to find areas that we could reduce or reallocate without significantly impacting programs and services. Our modifications for FY18 are classified into four broad categories. That's public safety, seasonal, maintenance, and then a larger category of departmental administrative needs. And I will just say that our FY18 budget, while it is not informed by our recently completed master plan update, it is very consistent with the master plan. So I'll begin with our modifications. First, in public safety, we are requesting 2 park police officers, a total cost of $195,000. With the expansion of the park system, the demands on our park police officers are expanding and increasing. And so with 2 additional officers, we will be able to enhance coverage of the park system, which does span the entire county. We will be able to do that and provide additional services.
How many officers do you currently have part of that?
We have a force of 22.
So currently. 22, so this would add another 2 positions to that 22.
Yes, okay. And I'll say we have our Park Police Division is led by, again, Captain Chris Taylor. He is a Metro police captain, and that lends to some consistency and seamlessness of the two departments. Next, we are requesting, $1.6 million in improvements in maintenance. That's consolidated maintenance as well as golf maintenance. Again, with the expansion of the park system, additional land acquisition and such, we need to be prepared to fill those needs of those areas.
And that would be 18 new full-time hires for maintenance.
Correct. That is correct. One in particular is creating a maintenance crew for the Cane Ridge area. With the traffic situation in Nashville being what it is, it's increasing traffic, productivity, and travel time. Well, travel time impacts productivity, and so we want to be strategic about having maintenance crews in different areas of the city. Seasonal, we're asking for $1.3 million in seasonal positions, and those positions are primarily for the Opportunity Now
Right.
Initiative that you have initiated with all departments and with the city. These positions are included in the FY17 supplemental appropriation that NCAC will submit. So this would be just adding those positions permanently into our budget.
Great.
Okay. And then in the area of department administrative, that's a very large area. Some of those positions and some of those asks focus on the infrastructure of our city, infrastructure of our department, with the way that we need to communicate outwardly with constituents, with park users, with people in the city in terms of communications and social media. We've asked for a position there. We've asked for a human resources position to support our very large and growing workforce. We've also asked for some administrative fees for a point-of-sale system that we have recently updated and improved, which will make online reservations possible for us, which they haven't been in the past. And also we are implementing and deploying the Kronos time and attendance system, and that will have some administrative fees with that. We'd also ask for additional positions at the Parthenon, 4 additional positions so that the Parthenon is able to be open on Mondays during peak season. That has a revenue impact. We expect revenue to increase by nearly $700,000 by just adding those positions. Also included in that area and tied to the capital budget are 2 community centers that are expected to come online in fiscal year 18. That's the Madison Regional Community Center and the Smith Springs Community Center. Those are projected to be completed in spring of fiscal year 18, and so the funding request is for those months in FY18 when it will be open. With that, I will turn over any capital overview that Tim would like to do.
Okay, great.
And I guess I
Tim.
should start by asking you if you have any specific questions.
Your capital budget request, you've got a Bellevue Community Center here, you've got deferred maintenance and renovations to existing locations. So why don't you just walk me through those 3 highlights?
Sure. With the changes in the way the CIB is structured this year, we responded by establishing some new categories. In the past, we simply submitted one lump sum for all improvements in the park system,
Right.
implementation of the previous master plan. For this year, we broke it down into 5 areas. 2 of them are related to existing facilities, deferred maintenance countywide, and then major renovations to existing facilities. And then new parks and greenways, development of new facilities, and land acquisition. So that we structured it in that way to attempt to allow all of us to look at it from the perspective of maintaining what we have, maintaining our investments in existing assets, and expansion of the system. And then the Bellevue Community Center was identified as a separate high-profile priority project.
You broke ground on that the other day.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, we also have included a request of $30,000 for the Celebrate Nashville Festival. You're familiar with that. It's a citywide event. It's very well attended. Attendance is usually, it's growing, but it's been about 65,000 people in attendance, and it features vendors, music, and just crafts and everything from all of the cultures in Nashville that call Nashville home, and we're able to exhibit that. So our ask has been $30,000 for that. We
What would that $30,000 do? What would that help with?
It would help with I'll just say, events management services. So what we have typically had is we had an employee who was managing that process and supervising that whole process of getting the vendors online. And that employee went to a contract, is now a contractor, came off payroll and is now a contractor. So that's what it will allow us to pay that vendor. Our staff is very heavily involved, but we do need one person dedicated to that, and that's what this vendor would do.
Talia?
I'd like to, because this is such a large grouping in terms of how this is presented in your budget submission.
Sure.
And I really want to give you the opportunity to spend a few extra minutes around this category that you've called Department Administrative.
Right.
Because it's listed as over $2 million and 48 FTEs.
It is.
So I just want to make sure that you have an opportunity to describe that those are not positions that are building in some type of an administrative type capacity necessarily. Some of these people that are in this grouping will be providing services to the community.
Correct.
And I want to make sure that people understand that this grouping includes service delivery.
It does. It absolutely
Okay, so
does.
you can just spend a
includes
moment.
service delivery. And this is a very broad category just because we use the same categories that we had from last year, and this is where they most easily fit. So again, I will mention that we have positions for a human resources position, a public information representative position, specifically in our finance and administration division, and these are to support. These are based on current need. We have one employee currently now assigned to each of those areas, and it's just a lot can fall between the cracks, and it's a huge demand. It's a growing demand on those areas. Also included in these areas, there are a number of golf, cultural arts. Almost every division of our park system, with the exception of park police, is included in this area. So positions to augment nature centers who offer services to the community, cultural art who offer services to the community, and visual arts, fitness and aquatics coordinators. And what we are planning to do, what we are trying to do is meet the demand of the community in the most responsible way. Although this adds up to 48 positions, there may be one or two positions in specific areas. So for instance, 2 aquatics coordinators, 2 fitness coordinators. And it's really, again, helping us to meet the demand of what our park users and facility users are asking us to do, and try to do that in a responsible and efficient way. We are, as you know, over the past several years, we have become very lean. And we have been asked to do more with less, and we have, and we thank you for your support in all of that. But
because you are particularly lean on the administrative side.
Absolutely.
So I thought that a reader might misunderstood.
Thank you very much.
Might misunderstand what that really meant.
Thank you very much for pulling that out. We are extremely lean on the administrative side. Again, like you said, there is, in general, one person who's responsible for, one area of function. And so to make sure we are most efficient, we're able to respond to park users and constituents in a timely and responsible way, we want to augment those areas and be strategic about doing that. Let's see. We also, I did not mention in our maintenance area, in addition to just general maintenance, we've requested additional custodians and maintenance workers at golf courses as well. Just, again, trying to meet the demand of what our growing city and park users and constituents are asking us. And we're trying to do that in a very responsible and deliberate way. We understand that, as you said, Mayor Berry, at the offset, that we may not have enough revenues in the city to meet every demand, but we at least wanted to put forth the effort to first to look at any areas that we could reallocate funds or reduce, and then to submit a request that is very thoughtful and deliberate.
Okay, now I want to shift to capital a little bit. And maybe this is a joint question for both of you. It has more, we don't have any new facilities opening short-term that will impact this budget.
No staff, well,
And that's what I,
in FY18, there are the 2 community center projects that would be
well,
fourth
that's for
quarter.
the capital replacement, is that correct? I'm just, what impact might you have from from capital projects on the FY18 budget?
On the new,
In terms of operating impact. I don't think there's any, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity to take that as a question.
Yeah, we don't have any other than those 2.
But Tip, there will be an impact, because what you're asking is you need some operating funds to staff up the 2 new
Those
ones
2, yeah.
that are coming
Other than
online
those.
in the spring. Now,
In
it's
the
not for a
spring.
full
In the spring.
FY18,
Right.
but it's.
Madison and Smith Springs.
Right,
Smith
other than
Springs.
those. And funding for the Hatley
I didn't
tennis
think
bubble,
that, so that would actually hit this fiscal year, next fiscal year?
18.
Okay.
Because you anticipate them open next spring.
Yes.
So there would be a couple months that they
Quicker,
would
it's a little
be.
quicker than what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the ask is for the funding for those months.
Okay. How
rather
many
than-
months is
Rather than
that?
full year, we asked for 4 months.
Okay.
We've requested 4 months.
Assuming you need a couple of months lead time?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
I want to go into capital. As I'm looking, that's a $147 million request that's in the capital for FY18, not for the whole period. I think it might be worth you just spending a moment talking about those buckets
Okay,
that you have submitted.
okay. Well, we're very enthusiastic about the Bellevue Community Center project, as you all have already worked very hard on. We feel like this is an opportunity to repeat the success of co-locating a community center with an Wise Center in Bellevue. And in fact, the existing Bellevue Community Center is the last of the recommended replacement facilities from the old 2002 plan.
Okay.
So they've been waiting a long time for this, and I know that community is very enthusiastic about it. For the maintenance of existing facilities where we requested $18 million, this is a step toward the recommendations in Plan to Play. We identified the total deferred maintenance need within our system, and this is a step toward that level of full funding or full funding request. So that covers really everything from paving, new roofs, resurfacing tennis courts, replacing boardwalks on greenways, replacing site furnishings, HVAC units, really just everything within our whole system, deferred maintenance on that, taking care of what we have, protecting our existing assets. So that's an $18 million request. Renovations to existing facilities, we have a $35 million number, and this is really major investments in either renovations or upgrades, additions to existing facilities. Sunnyside Mansion is one of our high priorities.
Yes, we just
on
had
that
the
list.
Historical Commission in here a second ago where we talked specifically about Sunnyside and how we need to preserve that beautiful building, and that's going to require some historical movement, but absolutely.
Okay, and we worked very closely with them on the development
Right.
of the cost estimates for that. So that would include not only repairs to the existing mansion itself, it would include restoration of the annex building that
Yep.
was historically attached to it. as well as the several outbuildings, some of which are in very, very poor shape. It's also an opportunity to implement one of the recommendations that is both in the Sevier Park Master Plan and Plan to Play, and in Gear Up 2020, which was the development of high-quality restaurant or cafe facilities. That outbuilding, one of those outbuildings, the Carriage House, was identified in the Sevier Park Master Plan for development of a small outdoor cafe. So that would be a little bit of new territory for the Parks Department, but an argument that we put forth in Plan to Play to justify some of these expenses or some of these investments in historic buildings in order to reactivate them as special food service locations in the parks.
Is that part of the $35 million request?
It would be, yes.
And would that also include, from a historical perspective, Two Rivers?
Restaurant-wise?
Just in terms of upgrades and things out there at that
We
location?
would like to see funding for the special events pavilion that was recommended in the Two Rivers Mansion Master Plan.
But that's not here, is it?
It would be
Put that-
included
you
in
put it
that
in the capital
35
budget?
million.
It would be in that 35?
It is
Okay.
I believe it's essentially a $2 million line
Okay.
item.
All right.
So what that would allow us to do in partnership with Friends of Two Rivers Mansion would be to expand their special events programming, which would generate additional revenue. It would also allow them to move some of that programming out of the mansion, which has pretty significant impacts on that historic house, to this events pavilion. So it helps preserve the existing building, and it allows them to expand programming at the same time. And there are lots of recommendations in that master plan, but the rationale behind asking for the events pavilion first was to begin generating revenue that they could then reinvest in the historic buildings and other components
So
of the
you're
site.
thinking both of those would be FY18 priorities?
Yes.
Okay.
How many historical buildings that require some kind of upgrade exist right now in our Metro Parks system?
That's a good question.
The key sites that really are at risk are the Naval Building in Shelby Park.
Right.
We've asked for planning and design funding on that. The Sunnyside outbuildings have long been a concern of ours. The Lock Keeper's House at Lock 2 Park. The Bell Buchanan House in Bell's Bend. And then in addition to those, then there are actually a number of historic houses on the Ravenwood Lytle Bend property,
That was
historic
the other
buildings, and Antioch Southeast that as we develop those master plans, which we have kicked off this month, we will have a better sense of how those can be programmed and adapted.
Okay.
It's good to know.
Yep.
And they're great opportunities to really create
Well, and if you
some-
start to think about revenue generation and, I think some of them are rented out now for event space, but probably a much more comprehensive plan for all those rental opportunities across Davidson County. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And a mayor's mansion somewhere.
Okay. What about your other,
What
you've got a couple more groupings here, Tim?
Right, so then the next category is new parks and facilities. We've been working with your office, Rich, and on the Capitol View project. Lots of these new facilities are greenways, so in a moment I'll turn it over to Cindy to talk about those. One project that we're very enthusiastic about that we would hope we could get some relatively modest funding on actually is for us to work with the Trust for Public Land and the Nashville Civic Design Center on a design competition for the Kerr-McGee property. That's the 11-acre site that we bought a year or so ago that is immediately south of Rolling Mill Hill on the Cumberland River, below Rolling Mill Hill. It's a spectacular site. And and approaching the planning and design of that site as a design competition would be not only an opportunity for a partnership with these outside nonprofits, but also potentially to attract some new design talent to Nashville and really do something special and unique in that site. I think that that's an opportunity to provide some of the basic neighborhood recreational program elements that don't necessarily fit in Riverfront or Walk of Fame or Public Square, but the types of neighborhood recreational facilities that urban residents expect, and that is right in between.
Is it on the river? that
It's
piece
on
of
the
property?
river, and then there's a big
Right.
elevation difference.
Yep.
So above that is what was an old quarry and tank farm.
Right.
So it's a really interesting site with a lot of possibilities. And there are a few others, but I know greenways is a high priority, so.
Yeah, let's
Sure.
talk about that.
Well, we have a question this time for $5 million for countywide greenways, which has been fairly standard for us over the last few years. $5 million for continuation of the I-440 Greenway. That would include Phase 2.
Right.
Right now, we have Phase 1 underway, which is Elmington Park to Centennial Park. Phase 2 is Gale Lane Park to our trails that we have at Park Terrace on Browns Creek, and Omon Street, where our park headquarters are, down to 28th Avenue to make that connection, and Craig Street to Gale Lane Lofts. So it's kind of a broad section on 440. And $5 million for the Opry Mills connector, for our pedestrian bridge over the Cumberland to Opry Mills.
Will that
And-
only cost $5 million to put a pedestrian bridge over that?
This is not for the bridge, this is from the bridge. It costs a little more than that, I believe, actually, to do the pedestrian bridge.
what I thought.
But from the bridge to Opry Mills. And then $3 million for Browns Creek Greenway at the fairgrounds.
And with that Browns Creek component, what would that include?
Well, we're just getting started on that. In fact, we're walking that tomorrow afternoon to look at exactly where that would go.
Okay.
So it's early right now. But trails, in anticipation of a longer greenway that would connect all the way to downtown along Browns Creek.
Okay.
One more, if I could
Sure.
mention, back in the category of renovations and upgrades to existing park facilities is the Old Hickory Community Center. That
Yes.
is a site that, and
Did Larry just hand you that piece of paper? Or was it just by, osmosis?
and we've got the site on Antioch Pike as well. In there. For Old Hickory, what we would propose to do would be to ask for planning and design money this year. That building is a different animal for us. It's one that we inherited. It's got a lot of potential, but we'd like to go through that design process so that next year we could come back to you with some really solid estimates of construction costs.
And aren't you acquiring some land that's also around that, that's also making that parcel a little bigger?
That's right. So we would like to, just as we have in the other parks where we put in new community centers, we'd like to master plan that whole site as part of it.
Larry, you want that?
Thank you, thank you.
Did you want to say anything about Centennial Master Plan? That's a big project.
That's a big one. So we're in design development on Phase 2 right now, which is the Great Lawn primarily, and a new entrance on West End. The design team is in town this week, so we had a good session last week on that. They are proposing to wrap up design this fall, and we will go into construction and be completed in about a year. So that, again, West End entrance, Great Lawn, and then the rest of the landscape around the Parthenon itself that was not part of Phase 1. We would also like to be able to include the landscape around the band shell, so we're moving forward on design with that. But whether or not we're able to proceed with the band shell landscape will largely depend on the private fundraising component of the project. If we can't do it as part of this construction phase, we'll do it in a subsequent construction.
And Tim, why don't you just mention that a lot of the dollars that are flowing in for this particular project are also being funded from private dollars. These are not just all tax dollars.
That's correct. That's been a good partnership.
Yeah, we'd like to see more of those. Anything else?
I think I've been through this
Yeah.
times.
Yep. Anything else that you all want to add?
No, just thank you for your continued support.
Sure, let me just also recognize that Councilman Leonardo joined us as well during the budget hearing, so thank you, we welcome you. And any additional things you want to say?
No.
All right, well then we're good. We appreciate you, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming down. Thanks.
Thanks.